or just sitting around serving my customers, or just sitting around talking to my customers.
I sat down, I was complaining about how much the beer cost. I bought 2 beers, 2 hot dogs, and it was $13. Sure. I was just as criminal. They're making $10 a person on top of the $30 a ticket.
It's a fairly folksy and natural place to be, that you're going to come here and find real people. It's a good atmosphere, it's a good conversation. You get a lot of the best food of the city. This terminal seems to represent a lot of what's best about Philadelphia.
You know what you're buying?
Hi.
How are
Steak
you?
plans.
What kind?
Japanese.
Okay, this is Chinese eggplant.
Okay.
The Japanese one
The
is
shorter and
yeah,
like
shorter and thin like
I
this.
like this kind better.
Right, this long Chinese eggplant. I think this is more tender and better.
I remember the market as a very busy place as a child, walking around here and holding my grandfather's hand at counter height. But I had just worked in Yugoslavia, and after I finished there, I went to a lot of markets in Europe and in Istanbul and Jerusalem and Cairo. So I had this sense of what the feeling of a market and all these different things happening, and smells and colors and people and crowds and commerce taking place. So it was an amorphous kind of a vision, but it was, you know, a true sense of what a good old market was like.
Depending on how far you want to go back, the market goes back to the 1600s, when there are written records which suggested that there was a market down on Dock Street, down by the water. And when the ships, or when the farmers would come in with produce, there'd be a bell down at the docks, and they'd ring the bell, and that would be a sign that there was a public market there. Over time, that market was put in basically very temporary structures, much like the Italian market functions today.
I have customers, especially on Saturday, or, no, I can't even say Saturday, during the week. I have customers, if they come here more than twice and they don't see me, when they eventually see me, they're like, where have you been? Well, how come you weren't here? They want to see you. So it's like we're like a family.
How do you like it? Want it rare?
Medium rare, medium rare.
Okay. It's going to take you 35 minutes.
Okay.
No more. Take it out, and you'll let it stand for 10 minutes. Okay, before you cut.
Now the oven's preheated to 400. Do I bring it down?
Leave it at 400.
Keep it at 400, okay.
35 minutes. Take it out, and let it stand for 10 minutes.
Got it.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Then call me when it's ready.
Okay.
It's a very warm and personal thing that most of my customers have with me or share with me. I know their children, I know their grandchildren, I know their hurts, their wants, you know. Somebody at one time said, boy, you make a great bartender. Well, you know, it's pretty nearly the same thing, only we're in the meat business.
And on the site before this market, there were, on the corner of Market Street, 2 old market houses, the New Franklin Market and the 12th Street Market. And the Reading Company wanted this land, but market people, being a feisty brand, as we still see today, didn't budge too easily. And Reading Company made a compromise with them in order to get their property that incorporated the Reading Terminal Market in the plans for the new transportation complex. It was then the world's largest indoor food market. There was a cold storage area in the market basement that was the first of its kind in the world. Foods were brought in on the trains from all over the place. The market had a tremendous competitive advantage, and this was really unlike anything people had seen before. And people flocked in here. There were 1,600 stalls, marble counters, and merchandise from all over the world.
I used to work for Roy Roger, and the only thing I knew was cook was American food: roast beef, hamburger, and fried chicken. So when I came here, I don't know nothing about Chinese. It was totally different thing, totally different feel. And I learned everything from scratch. And how to slice, dice, and debone the chicken and cut the beef. Everything's by hand, nothing by machine at all. Everything's done by hand. So it's more difficult cooking Chinese food than it's American food. It's easier to cut your fingers too.
So if you come, I'll get you to dance.
I'll dance with you. What are the fundraising efforts for? I mean, exactly what are they?
Essentially, we had a really big fight to make sure that the city and the Convention Center Authority preserved the market.
I thought that was solid now. Is that not the case?
It is, but nonetheless, we still had a huge legal battle. So we owe the attorneys a lot of money. My husband and myself, David and I, love farmers markets, always have, and when we travel, we'll always go and search out a farmer's market.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sure. David and I were talking about just doing this part-time, and he came in one day and he was making flan, and I was running in and out in my business suit, you know, interviewing and ready to go out in corporate America, and the pan broke and the caramelized sugar burned his hand. So I'm like taking my suit off in the ladies' room, putting jeans and a t-shirt on, and I came behind the counter, and that's where I've been for the past 10 years.
The Bravermans, there's a bakery over there. They had one of these portable telephones. And someone went down there, somebody went behind the counter and stole it. So Victor, the fellow that, Victor Braverman, thought he saw the guy. So he went and got Bill Tony, the guard. I said, Bill, that guy just stole my telephone, and he's sitting over there. So Bill and Rocco went over, and they said, would you mind standing up? This man believes you stole his telephone. The guy said, I don't know what you're talking about. He said, I didn't steal anybody's telephone. Just then it rung. It was in his jacket.
Somebody called it started ringing. We cornered him and it started ringing.
So Bill said, I think it's for me.
People would call their orders in, and we would make the orders up, pack them in dry ice, put them in boxes, and as a kid, I would take them to the baggage rooms of both the Reading Railroad and the Pennsylvania Railroad, and they would go out on the trains, and they would be dropped off at wherever they lived, Gladwin, Paoli, wherever, and then the chauffeurs would pick up the packages and take them to the homes. Or if they needed something right away, they would call up and they would send a chauffeur in, and my father would have the orders ready for them and they would pick it up. And that's how the business was done in those days. Credit, always gave credit. You always trusted everybody. Man's word was his bond. And it was a good way to do business.
Yeah, it's funny because sometimes when Laura comes down, right, I think they just came out from the quorum or from the client, right? They come here, they say, they don't have their money with them or their wallet with them, and they don't mind to get a credit and they come back to pay for it tomorrow. I say, sure, no problem, because they're a regular customer.
The stand that you're seeing here is the original one that was here in 1893 when the market was first built. And these marble counters are the same marble counters that they used then. Years ago, in fact, one man would dish the ice cream into a dish with a large spoon, hand it to another man who would slide it down the counter, and amazingly it would stop right in front of the customer that it was intended for. Well, that is until my father employed a new slider downer, and he proceeded to slide the ice cream down the counter, and it did in fact stop in front of the proper customer, but it landed in her lap. So I think that was the end of that particular era.
It rains, it pours, you know, and that rain sits and settles for quite a while before it's physically out of the building. You know, it may stop raining outside, but there's rain that's sitting and settling.
Just all of a sudden, out of the clear blue sky, tons of water, not tons, but a good 50 buckets full would come down and catch somebody while they're eating, which was pretty funny. So I'm not going to say we didn't laugh. We laughed.
In the summertime, from all the refrigeration in the basement, was so cold that the floor out there would get so cold and damp and it radiated the coolness. It could be 100 degrees outside. Never got over 63 degrees in here. I can remember when I was a kid, in the middle of summer, people would come from Wanamaker's or something. They'd come in here just to cool off, eat Bassett's ice cream and cool off. Now that's amazing, yeah?
We were pretty busy over here, and this girl that works down at the coffee place, I think it was Marie, came up and asked me for a fire extinguisher, and that her store was on fire. So I immediately grabbed Walt, the guy that works with me, and we ran down there.
Excuse me.
No water came out whatsoever. The farmers working on the convention center had shut the water off. Some people that were eating at my stand here had also gone down there to help out. The Koreans, people from Termini's, and the surrounding stands from the flower shop all came together. We finally got the fire out just as the fire company arrived.
When the Second World War came along, I was young then, and the market really boomed. Everybody came here because they couldn't buy food, couldn't buy meats or anything anywhere else, and they did an excellent business. But when people lined up for half a pound of butter, long line, sometimes it went out the door. When people wanted meats, it was another long line, and they had rationing stamps and all that. And I can remember on Sundays, my mother, my sister, and I, our job was to count all the ration stamps on Sunday so that he could send it to the meat houses to get more meat to sell. And that was a time-consuming job, yes.
It would have been really fun to have come in here as a child. And I have so many customers who come in here and they reminisce, oh, we've come in here forever. The kids that just left have been here since they're 2 years old, and they have a ritual. They have to come. They have to have their nachos. So it's cute. I wonder at some point what they'll remember when they're older about their childhood and eating tacos and nachos in the market.
I think one of the more unusual flavors that we had involved Nikita Khrushchev when he came to the United States for his appearance at the UN. An aide was sent down to Philadelphia to ask Bassett's if they could make borscht-flavored ice cream and have it sent ahead to Washington. My father thought about it, and he decided, yes, he thought that could be done. So he did, and shortly thereafter, it was on its way to Blair House.
The market flourished, I would say, until about the end of the 50s, or late 50s, and somewhere in there. And that was because that's when the supermarkets started to open up. Suburbia started to build up. Everybody left the city. Everybody wanted to go to a supermarket. They thought they were getting a better deal or whatever they thought.
How do you pick a rice?
Well, as long as they're not soft like mushed
Too
nut.
much, yeah.
Not too soft. Nice and firm, yellow color.
Like that.
Yeah, this is a less ripe.
Yeah. This is good. Could you use today?
You can cut it today, yeah.
Good.
It's special. It's special. And I had a look around, and I like this shop most because it was very nice service. Not a market like this we don't have. You can see it in Italy or Spain, but not in Switzerland.
Let me see if I can get you a little bit of dry ice to put in there.
Medium size.
There we are, dear.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a nice trip home.
Thank you.
Have a good holiday.
That you can find in the market, you can't find in a supermarket. The other day I went to the supermarket and counted 16 different kinds of frozen French fries, and they had 3 kinds of fresh apples. Now you tell me, is life a little out of balance or what? In 1980, I was writing a book, and I needed some dialogue. So I went to the Bassett's ice cream counter and I said, could I work here for a day? The market was this wonderfully seedy place. There weren't a lot of stores in here. I think there were 23 businesses in here, and this, where we're sitting, this was all nothing. It was walk-in boxes, and it was dark, but it was interesting. It was a forgotten place in the city. So I was scooping ice cream that day. The president of the Reading came through, and he said, what are you doing here? He said it was high time that I joined the world of industry and commerce. And the Reading company was just getting out of bankruptcy at that time, and he asked me if I wanted to work in the market.
The thing that I like most about Dave is that we only had 25, 27 of the old businesses, the Margrams, the Bassetts, and the Moyers, and the Stellas and all that, and he really kind of tried to blend a mixture of eating establishments, more produce. He's brought in, he helped bring in to the market the Korean produce counters, and he really worked it.
The market was sold in early November, and it transferred between the Reading Company and the Pennsylvania Convention Center Authority.
The convention center, as we've all heard about, is being built across the street from the market. And the entrance to the convention center will be through the old Reading train shed directly above the market.
It means a lot of different things for the market, both good and bad. The market has not had any kind of major investment for many years now. And so the transfer means that the market will have now major investment in terms of improvements in its systems, plumbing, electric, HVAC systems, as well as just general improvements to the roof.
For 2 years or a little better, they've been just tearing down, not building up anything, leaving this area and this neighborhood a little barren in a way. All of the offices that were here and customers that we knew have been relocated to other locations. So at this point, just to see a new owner come in and know that things are going to start to move forward, I was happy to see that take place.
I had a lot of, and still have a lot of, anxiety and concern about it. It's a big project. In some respects, I think it represents putting essentially a refrigerator right in the middle of the city, where you've got a convention center that's going to be busy, and then it's going to be a void, and there's going to be nothing happening here.
On any given day, there'll be 1,500 to 2,000 construction workers between the hotel, working on the new hotel between 12th and 13th on Market, and the convention center. They start eating hoagies about 8 o'clock in the morning, so somewhere around there. So that's good for me.
I wouldn't want to see it become a food hall. I've seen that happen even at home in the town of Intercourse, where, you know, after it becomes too much of a show place, then your local people aren't going to be shopping there, and that is a concern, because we want to keep it for the local merchants and the people that of course buy, and that's how you pay rent. You know, you can't pay rent people taking pictures of your stalls, you know.
The new management for the Reading Terminal Market will be composed of many elements. There will be a real estate management company, Strauss Greenberg, that will have input. The Merchants Association has been funded to hire staff. They will have input. The Reading Terminal Market Preservation Fund will have input. The lease and services agreement that was approved by the City of Philadelphia, allowing the convention center to go forward, has given the city some input. So the the controls or the directions of the market are going to come from many angles. And I think in one way that web of protection can be good, but in another way it could be a little shaky because political agendas external to the Reading terminal market could have some play into the situation. Strauss Greenberg is an established real estate firm that manages large office buildings, shopping malls, multi-million-dollar real estate complexes, I think all over the United States. I mean, they're very well respected in the industry. And I don't think they have any experience running an old city market, though.
We have a tremendous advantage in that the market manager who's working with Strauss Greenberg, Bill Gardner, originally worked at the Reading Terminal Market.
When we were first approached by the Convention Center Authority or the city representatives, they actually wanted to close us down. They wanted to compensate us and say come back when the convention center was built. But we were of the opinion that if they closed us down, our businesses would fail and our customers would leave us, and there would never be another Reading Terminal Market the way we know it today. So we negotiated with them.
What they're going to be doing probably in about a year is working on the market in thirds. There's an arcade across the street on Filbert that's not currently being used for anything commercial that will be used to take displaced merchants while their areas are being, let's see, re-supported, re-strengthened. It's not so much renovation. We don't want people to feel as if it's going to become something glitzy.
It's really scary. I don't even have any idea how that's going to be. I mean, people are really creatures of habit. They don't like to change. I mean, I know we're lazy. You know, who wants to go find something when you're used to finding it in the same place all the time?
Here, man.
There are a series of guidelines as well as lease restrictions that have been negotiated on behalf of the Merchants Association and the city, which will protect the market and make sure that the mix of merchants in the market today will stay pretty much the same as it is into the future. There are not going to be any national chains permitted in the market. There are not going to be any more lunch places allowed in the market, and there are going to be attempts to increase, in fact, the number of produce dealers, the number of fish places, the number of meat purveyors, so that we make sure that we stay a food market for our Philadelphians.
I think no matter what anybody says, the nature of everybody's business is going to change because you're going to have conventioneers in from out of town, and everybody's going to want to try to make some money from these people as well as sustain their regular customer base. And if you're a produce person or a meat person, how are you going to convince somebody who, you know, has come from, you know, Sacramento or San Francisco that you should take this steak from this market, that it's so good that it needs to travel for, you know, the next 2 days back to California?
We don't know who's going to make it and who's not. We're hoping that everybody will get through this. We don't know ourselves. You know, this is a new ball game for us because you're going to have conventioneers here. Is it going to interfere with our customers, my customers? Eating establishments, I don't think they'll have a problem. It's the meat, the poultry, the produce. These are the people that are, it's questionable.
There are so many things in our public lives right now. We are observers, and we're looking at things that other people have created for us. But you come into the market, and you are part of this thing. You are helping to create it. You are helping to maintain it. You are helping to save it. And I think people feel so alienated now that they come into a market and there is this great warmth, and there are some rough edges to it, but even that gives people a sense of, yes, this is something that is real, and they participate.
We'd like to know what you think about our production of Tales of the Terminal Market, so stay tuned for a special telephone number to call with your thoughts. That's followed by another special broadcast, Liquid Gold, coming up here on TV 12.